Tonight, the world's most popular sports program, The Superstars. For this third heat in our search to find the new British national superstar champion, we've come back here to South Wales, to the Cwmbran Stadium. Over the next 2 days, we'll be watching more of Britain's top sportsmen, competing in the 6 events they've chosen out of the Superstar 8. And remember, this final heat is the one that decides the lineup for the British National Championship, where for the first time this year, those stars of a few years back, the past masters, the best of those, will be taking on our present and current champions. Well, our superstars this week, they come from the sports of rugby and soccer, from judo, gymnastics and boxing. We've got one from rowing, and for the first time, a champion from the sport of water skiing. Mike Hazelwood, the most brilliant all-round skier ever, champion of the world on the water. Phil Bennett from Rugby Union, the Welsh and British Lions fly half, who's become a rugby legend. Gymnast Ian Neil, Britain's best ever in the last Championship of the World. Maurice Hope, the professional boxer from the East End, champion at light middleweight. Duncan McKenzie, football's unpredictable individualist, ex-Everton, now Chelsea. Chris Bailio, the double sculler who with Mike Hart won the world gold and Olympic silver medals. Andy Irvine, Rugby Union, Scotland's British Lion and 1978 Player of the Year. And Brian Jacks, the hard man of judo, world, Olympic and European medal winner.
And the first event those superstars are faced with is the 100 metres, and 7 of them have opted to go in this. Only Brian Jacks from judo is missing. In the lineup, well, we've got Duncan McKenzie, who already has a fine athletic reputation. Against him, 2 stars from rugby. Phil Bennett, who can explode over 40 yards. He says he's not sure about his finishing speed over 100 metres. And we've got Andy Irvine, who plays on the wing for Scotland, as well as he plays at fullback. And I must say that Mike Hazelwood impressed me in the warm-up, so it should be a pretty close race. Weather conditions are ideal, except that there's a slight headwind, which may slow the time down a little. However, at the finish, it should be pretty close.
Well, these 7 superstars not so much worried about the time as worried about the first points they're likely to get. Chris Bailio, looking fairly mean and fit. Phil Bennett, really apprehensive about his finishing speed. Maurice Hope, who suggested that he doesn't do a lot of sprinting. Ian Neil, talented all-rounder. Could be a shock in this superstars. And Duncan McKenzie, a very good high jumper and pole vaulter, but we don't know about his sprinting, nor do we know about Mike Hazelwood, but he looks a lot of athlete, and we do know that Andy Irvine can sprint extremely well.
On your marks. Set.
Away they go. Phil Bennett gets away extremely quickly. Andy Irvine goes with him. Duncan McKenzie looks as if he's in third. Maurice Hope running across the lane of Ian Neil. This is very close between the rugby players. Andy Irvine gets there first in the end, then Phil Bennett, then Duncan McKenzie. And the honours on this occasion go to the rugby players over the soccer players. Phil Bennett got away extremely well, but the speed of Andy Irvine in finishing was far too good.
Well done, Andy. Good run. What a great race, too. Fair amount of tension to start with.
Yeah, it's a bit of wind up against us there. It takes it out of you.
Who did you fear most? Was it Phil Bennett or was it Duncan McKenzie?
Well, I couldn't see them because they were so far away. I knew that Phil would be very good over 50, but it's whether over the 400 he could last it. And I don't know if he was up or not.
He looked pretty good over the first 40 or 50. Phil was looking very sharp.
Sure he would be, yeah.
Yeah, and Duncan was with him most of the time. Tell you what was a surprise was that many of you chose not to use blocks. But a sprinter like you surely's had some experience of blocks.
No, never.
No? Well, that's
Never do any athletics because we're always on tour in the summer, you see.
I must say it was pretty good sprinting. Very impressive indeed. Well done on those 10 points.
Thanks very much.
And good to see Rugby Union getting off well. The 10 and 7 points for the Scot and the Welshman. Mackenzie with 4 for third. And Bailey, the oarsman, just edged out of the points out here on the track.
Well, we come inside for the first time for the weightlifting competition. We've 4 competitors. Phil Bennett from the world of rugby, Maurice Hope from boxing, Ian Neal from gymnastics, and Brian Jacks, that very tough, solid-looking character from the world of judo. But he's opted to come in at 100 kilograms, and that's very risky because the competition this year is a sudden death one. Each competitor only has 1 lift at each weight, so it's going to be a tough and very exciting competition.
Phil, renowned for his lightning acceleration, change of direction, agility, will of the wisp, all his great virtues, but not sheer muscular strength. And of course it's a skill as well, and a lot of the superstars forget this. It's not just how much muscle you've got, it requires great confidence and great skill. But Phil Bennett goes out at 60 kilograms. So Ian Neal is over body weight, and Maurice Hope is just going over body weight, one hopes, with 77.5 kilograms, which is 171 pounds. Again, but he's got a very wide grasp. His hand should be shoulder width apart, and he's not going to get it off his chest. So Maurice Hope will score minus 0.8. He'll finish ahead of Phil Bennett, but Ian Neal already ahead of him. Now, remember, Brian Jacks has yet to enter the competition. And Brian Jacks has already committed himself to come in at 100 kilograms. This gymnast who had such marvellous success in Strasbourg at the World Championships, making the top 36 in the world in the individual all-round competition, the best ever by a male gymnast. Now look at that, good straight back, and he's got the bigger discs on.
Go!
Coventry's Ian Neal, coached by John Atkinson, who's at last overtaken the mantle from Nick Stewart as our greatest ever gymnast, and Brian Jacks just watching and wondering whether 100 kilograms was the right decision. And the bar goes up to 80 kilograms. But Ian Neal will need 90 kilograms on body weight to match Jacks' opening weight of 100 kilograms. This would give him plus 8.8. You can see how those larger discs lift the bar off the ground. It gives him a better stance. There's the straight back, bent legs, and he must work the legs first, which he does. And makes that too.
Go.
Plus 8.8. For Ian Neal. Of course, the gymnast gets the most comprehensive workout every time he goes onto the floor. Oh, not enough. Oh, he just couldn't lock the elbows. Ian Neal makes plus 8.8 and leaves it all to Brian Jacks, who could win the competition on 1 lift, but he's been pushed quite hard. 100 kilograms, 220 pounds.
100 kilo.
Brian Jacks weighs 83.1 kilograms, that's 183 pounds, 13 stones, lifting 220 pounds. And makes it. Go! Wins the weightlifting with one tremendous lift. Saves himself for the rest of the competitions. What a tough competitor he is. Brian Jacks from judo. Plus 16.9 kilograms, 10 points for that. Ian Neal in second with 7. Then Maurice Hope, and Phil Bennett collects 2 for 4th place.
Brian, that may not be the greatest weight we've ever seen lifted in Superstars, but it was the most impressive piece of weightlifting. What made you come in so heavy?
Well, not knowing the opposition, one doesn't really know what to do, so I thought if I go in really heavy, it might frighten them a bit.
Well, it frightened us all, because now on this new rule, you only get one lift, you know, one attempt at each weight. Well, you're not just a little bit worried as you watched it going up?
Well, I worked out in the back, in the training room, and lifted 100 quite easily, so I thought, well, I'll go in at 100. I was going to start off at 105, but I thought I better not, because that's maybe pushing it a little bit.
So after 2 events, Brian Jacks on top of the world and sharing top of the table with the rugby player Andy Irvine. Phil Bennett and gymnast Ian Neal very close at this early stage. Well, that's the first 2 events completed for the Superstars, the 100 metres and that weightlifting. Still ahead of them, of course, is the crossbow shooting, the swimming, the gymnastics, the cycling and the steeplechase. And the event we've now come down here for in the sunshine, the 125 metres canoe race. So the lineup: first heat winner qualifies for the final. The rest decided on the best times after the second heat. Balliol, big, strong, must feel at home here. Andy Irvine, middle lane, white vest. And then Ian Neal, nearest our cameras, in lane 3.
Ready?
So the gun for heat 1, 125 metres, and who's got the start? Neal's got a good one, so's Irvine, but Balliol hasn't. Balliol on the far side, a man who's been in the boat race crew 4 times, the double sculler, world Olympic medals, has got a bad start and he's being dropped, and it's Ian Neal nearest us. Going ahead, Andy Irvine in the middle lane. Oh, and Irvine's lost it there for a second. Ian Neal still forging ahead, but Irvine's nearly tipped it over, and that's given Balliol a chance on the far side to creep up a little. Irvine in awful trouble there, has corrected a little, but up comes Balliol on the far side. It's still Ian Neal in the head. Balliol's found a little rhythm, but not quite enough, and Neal still forging ahead, the better canoeist, and it's still Ian Neal. Balliol has gone ahead of Irvine now on the far side, but Ian Neal comes up to take it. Who's going to get second? And it's Irvine. Irvine just by an inch, and Irvine gets second, but Neal has won it. Taking a little out of him, Neal is second, and Balliol will be third, and that's the big shock. Irvine just getting that second place. So they're lined up. Duncan McKenzie looks across to Mike Hazelwood. There's some power for you. And equal power from a rather thoughtful looking Brian Jacks, white vest, nearest us.
Ready?
So it's win or beat, 42.75 to make the final end. Hazelwood's got the start in the middle lane. Hazelwood really going away, while explosive start already a length up. Brian Jacks nearest us and McKenzie over on the far side, but look at the way Hazelwood's already going, long economical stroke, and Jacks is after him, gritting his teeth. Little bit one arm there. It's the left arm that Jacks is pushing with, and McKenzie trailing now in 3rd place, but Hazelwood really is going through this water well. This is very fast indeed. Mike Hazelwood to the line there, Jacks in 2nd place. Looking at Hazelwood's time, it's 36.32, as McKenzie's still coming in to take 3rd place. 36.32 for Hazelwood, a new Superstars canoe record. Incredible, and Brian Jacks was just behind him. McKenzie out of it in 3rd place. That really was fast. And so into the final, Hazelwood gets in, Jacks is in, so is Neal here, the Heat 1 winner, and Irvine from Heat 1 just gets through. Jacks canoed well in that 2nd heat, just behind Mike Hazelwood, a very fast time. So the 3rd final of this Superstar meeting here in Wales, and 4 men in the canoe event. In Heat 1, the winner there was Ian Neal, and he's in lane 1. Next to him will be the new canoe record holder, the water skier Mike Hazelwood in lane 2. Then Brian Jacks from judo, very fast behind Hazelwood in that record-breaking 2nd heat.
and Andy Irvine, who just qualifies from Heat 1, Chris Balliol out of it.
Ready!
The final, and who's going to get the start? And it is Hazelwood. Mike Hazelwood in the blue canoe. In lane 2, they're forging ahead again. Brian Jackson, the orange canoe. Nearest us is Andy Irvine, who's trailing a bit, and Neil over on the far side is up in second place at the moment. But it is Mike Hazelwood going, I think, even faster. He really cuts through this water beautifully. That's good canoeing style, and Hazelwood is going to win this. It's going to be a race on for second. Neil has got second at the moment, and look at Hazelwood go, really cutting through that water magnificently, and there's the winner, Hazelwood, and it's quicker, 34.05. He's improved his record. Who's going to get second? Jax come out very quickly. It's Neil from Jax, from Andy Irvine. Very close for second, third and fourth, but Hazelwood does it 34.05. Second is Neil, third is Jax, fourth is Irvine. And it's 10 points for the water skier in his second event. A very good 7 for Ian Neil. Jax perhaps a little disappointed with third, but nobody could live with Mike Hazelwood in that.
And it's still very close after 3 events. Ian Neil, the gymnast, leads with 15 points from Brian Jax from judo on 14, and then 2 men equal with 12 points, Andy Irvine and Mike Hazelwood.
And it's down to the pool for event 4, the swimming, and that's a 50-metre race over 2 lengths. 5 men have opted to take part, and 3 already there, lined up for Heat 1. Over on the far side, Chris Balliol, the oarsman, who must be rather disappointed about that canoeing. He's still only got 1 point on the board. Brian Jax lying second, taking this competition very seriously, allowing himself a little bit of relaxation there. And Phil Bennett, the rugby union player, who doesn't fancy his chances too much in this.
Take your marks.
Jax, Bennett, and Jax has got a good start, and Balliol's with him over on the far side, and Bennett already trailing, and it's Jax, Brian Jax in the centre lane, forging ahead in this Heat 1, 2 lengths, remember, 50 metres the distance, and Brian Jax has the lead at the moment as he comes to the turn. Turns there from Chris Balliol, who's slowing just a little, and Phil Bennett out of it completely now, and Brian Jax going ahead well. Jax, the man who recovered from serious illness as a child to become one of the top judo players in the world, now out in front in this swim race, swimming very confidently indeed, just has to win to make the final. Chris Balliol, his time will depend whether he makes the final, and he's slowing up quite a bit there. But Balliol comes into second place. Jax 35.64, Balliol 40.52, and Phil Bennett, well, his predictions coming true, coming in quite a bad third, and he won't make the final, I'm sure, with that. So Jax is through, Balliol is second, Bennett is third. Good swim by Brian Jax, and applauding Bennett as he comes in. Second heat just swum, and Ian Neil and Mike Hazelwood both very fast. Neil won it in 30.88. He qualifies for the final, and so does Mike Hazelwood, who came through in 34.30. So final of the swimming race in this Superstars heat here in Wales. Brian Jax over on the far side, the third fastest from the heats. Ian Neil, the quickest, and in fact only half a second slower than Olympic diver Brian Phelps swam here in the past Masters heat. Mike Hazelwood, tremendous in the canoe race, now in the swim final. And Chris Balliol, who will have to improve, but he must score points here, just 4 men in the final.
Two lengths of the pool, freestyle. Take your marks.
Neil, the favourite. And gets a good start, along with Brian Jax on the far side and Mike Hazelwood. And it's the 2 centre lanes. Neil and Hazelwood forging ahead, Jax up with them, Balliol dropping back a little, and it's Neil coming to the turn, and turns there just ahead of Hazelwood, and Jax up with them as well. But it's Neil coming down the home length now. Ian Neil, the gymnast from Coventry, forging ahead. Brian Jax still holding well over on that far side. Hazelwood just coming into the picture here, and it's Hazelwood in second at the moment, and Ian Neil's going to win this. Ian Neil touches. Who's going to be second? It's very close, and it's Hazelwood just by a touch from Jax. Jax looks across, but Hazelwood's got it. Hazelwood second, Neil a comfortable winner, Jax third, and Balliol just coming there into fourth place.
Neil 31.35, that was slower than his heat, but fast enough to win and reversing that 1 and 2 in the canoeing when he was beaten by Hazelwood. Neil wins the swimming from Hazelwood. So it's Ian Neil's first victory, and so far in 4 events, no one has yet got more than 1 first place. And that win will take Neil, the gymnast, to the top of the table at the halfway stage. 6 points clear of Mike Hazelwood. Jacks is 3rd, Irvine and Bennett 4th and 5th, and a few with a lot of work to do. So we move on to the second day, and they've opened up with the crossbow shooting. And Maurice Hope, here on the 3rd of his 5 shots. He's at 2-8 so far. Maximum with each shot is 10. Maximum score for the round 50. Maurice Hope, 2 8s. Shot 3. There they are, just on the right. 18 meters the distance. Right in the 10, the center.
10.
Yes, thank you very much, they say. Don't want too many of those. A bit of noise coming off the adjacent squash court, and Hope is gone a little while with that one. 7.
8.
No, 8 given. It's just cut the line of the 8, so that's 34 in 4 shots. That's the crossbow loaded with the bolt for his last shot. Bit scattered. 9.
Total score 43.
Just 7 short of the maximum 50 for Maurice Hope, the professional boxer. Brian Jacks composing himself, yet to shoot. He's watched Andy Irvine, rugby union in Scotland, already scoring 8 with his first shot. Just Irvine's 3rd event. He's won the 100, was 4th in the canoe, dropped out of the weights and the swimming. So he does everything else in this superstar battle here in Wales. 8 first shot. And 10.
10.
Yes, good 10 for Andy Irvine, 18 in 2. Hope, who scored 43, remember, had 110. 3rd shot for Irvine, and yes, he's holding that too long. A little bit of the elbow creeping in here. Nine. 27 so far. Andy Irvine, who's played rugby in New Zealand, Fiji, Canada, United States, Rhodesia, South Africa, works as a chartered surveyor. Oh, and again, he's just holding on. Getting a little twitchy. And that surely has gone right through the target. Balliol got a 36 already shot. Yes, that bolt did go right through the target. Now, a crossbow bolt can pierce a 1-inch block of lead, so they've made absolutely sure nobody's standing behind that target, and just as well. And that has gone through the same hole. You probably heard the little metallic twing as it went through and hit the backing. Gone straight through that same hole. Tracing if there are any more, but that's where it went.
9.
So it's another 9. 45. Mackenzie there beside him, who got a 39. So Irvine leads with 45. Phil Bennett already shot a 37, so it's just Brian Jacks left to shoot. Got a 9 with his first. This is shot 2 for Brian Jacks, attacking the leader Andy Irvine on 45.
10.
10 it is. Cut the line. So Jacks with one of the many oranges he's been eating through this. Got plenty of support and oranges. He's got his trainer, masseur, coach, mother, father, family. They're all here. Big Jacks family outing to see if their boy can become a superstar. Got a long way to go yet. He's holding too long, I'm sure. Beginning to waver. You can't hold that long. muscle begins to tighten, the bow begins to go all over the place, and you could be off the target. A little bit of a shake on, but he's in the 9s.
9.
So that's 28 in 3 shots, 9, 10 and 9, and Brian Jacks needs 2 9s to win. 2 9s. Right over to the right-hand side, disgusted with it, may even be a 6. 6 or a 7?
7.
7 it is. Another orange. So Irvine still the leads. Phil Bennett, his rugby compatriot, watching. He needs now a 10 for equal first. And he hasn't got it. He needed a 10 to tie, and he hasn't got it.
8.
8 it is. That's total score 43 and about 6 oranges. And Brian Jacks will be equal second with Maurice Hope. Andy Irvine the winner.
43.
There's the score confirmed. 43 for Brian Jacks. And it's Andy Irvine who wins the crossbow. Jacks and Hope equal second. And it's Andy Irvine's second win now in 4 events. He won the 100 metres as well. Hope's best position so far in an event where the tension was really on. But with 2 events before that steeplechase, Irvine is third. Jacks just above him, and Neil, who sits the next one out, is the leader in a very close battle there at the top.
Our last event indoors before we move out to the cycling and the steeplechase are, of course, the gymnasium tests. Again, it's the parallel bar dips and the squat thrust. With 6 competitors, and the only rule I would remind you of is that it's the aggregate score, the number of dips added to the squat thrust, which gives the competitors their final score.
And in a way, it's a pity we can't see Ian Neal, the gymnast, display his prowess on the parallel bars. But Mike Hazelwood, one of the tough guys, he starts off, and what a superb demonstration of canoeing we had from him. And that was a clear demonstration of arm and shoulder strength, which he has to use now. Arm extension strength, triceps particularly. Mike Hazelwood to get us underway.
Okay, no, face this way. Hands on. Okay, ready? Up. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a nice, confident
6,
start.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
See how he manages to stop
13,
the
14,
body swaying
15,
and rocking. He keeps
16,
tension there.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
This is going to
6,
set the pulses
27,
racing of the other
28,
superstars.
29,
Good score, this.
30, 31,
We know the clear favourite is
32,
Brian Jacks.
33, 34. Push, push, push,
Did he lock out at the elbows?
push, push.
Because he won't get up again.
Push.
He's done so well. 33 or 34. Mike Hazelwood.
34.
34 given. 34 for Mike Hazelwood. And Chris Balliol, who's should have good arm and shoulder strength.
Okay. Up.
Tremendous
Begin.
reputation, international.
1,
Sculler, Oarsman.
3,
But you notice that
4,
he can't stop
5,
swaying.
6,
It's a pity.
7, 8. Don't try and swing. 9.
I think it's not a question
10.
of trying, it's
Down.
something that has to be learned,
11.
and they have to practice this.
12. 13. Down. 14. Push, push, push. 15.
Well, he's certainly trying.
Push.
15 for Chris Balliol. A bit disappointing for a man with his reputation from his sport. 15 and 34. And I'll bet my bottom dollar that Duncan McKenzie has something to say about his own chances.
Send the hook down now.
He's the wag of this lot. I would remind you, though, he's quite an athlete,
3.
6-foot high jumper, and he frequently demonstrates his skill of jumping over a mini car.
8, 9, 10, 11, down. 12, 13, 14,
15, and he matches Chris Balliol.
14, down. 15,
Ah, he's been knocked one.
down. 16, and again. Push, 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 push.
Believe me, I'm trying. As he sinks slowly in the west. Duncan McKenzie. Brian Jacks prowling about, warming up in the background. He really has been training for this. 7 o'clock every morning has seen him at Crystal Palace, and he's done a few of these dips. I think he may be chasing that 49 of David Starbrook.
Ready?
Remember in the 1976 UK
1,
National
2,
Final.
3, 4.
And look at this
5,
for a start.
6, 7, 8.
Remember
9,
too that
10,
Carl
11,
Schnabel
12, 13,
in the European
14,
final of
15,
76
16,
scored 53,
17,
not in 1
18,
minute though.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28,
Oh,
29,
the crowd is
30,
spellbound.
31, 32, 33.
He takes the
34,
lead
35, 6,
and barely
38,
perceptibly
39,
slows up.
40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47,
Goodbye,
48,
Mr.
49,
Starbrook.
50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55,
And
56,
away you go.
57, 58, 59.
It's a new
60,
superstars
61,
record by
62,
far. And the family in the
60.
background cheering him on.
3, 64.
64. And, oh, I was going to say he's not finished, but the whistle defeats him. 64 in 1 minute, and all that they can do is shake their heads. Must be a comforting thought with the Scott thrust still to come. It's an aggregate score. That really is tremendous. 64, and Andy Irvine has to follow that.
Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Don't swing. 11.
Still got a bit of
12,
swing on. Difficult to
13,
control.
14.
Remember,
15,
Chris Balliol had
16,
15.
17,
Mackenzie 16.
18, 19, 20. Stretch. 21. 22.
So he's
Stretch.
going to be third.
22. Keep
Mike
pushing.
Hazelwood,
Push.
and of course Brian Jacks ahead of him. But a very good effort from this very likeable, very modest man of rugby, Andy Irvine. Still this crowd buzzing with Jacks's demonstration. And now Maurice Hope.
About there.
And of course the boxers have done well.
Ready?
Billy Walker
Begin.
particularly.
1, 2, down. 4, 5, 6.
Now he's got his elbows going
7,
very wide, going
8,
outside the
9,
bars, and
10,
that makes it difficult to control.
12, 13,
Really, the elbows want to extend
14,
along the line of the parallel bars.
15. Stretch. 16.
He matches Duncan McKenzie.
Stretch. 17.
That's good
Stretch.
enough to get in fourth place.
Push. 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 No.
Andy Irvine, Mike Hazelwood and Brian Jacks still ahead of him, and I think it's going to peter out there. Maurice Hope scores 17 in fourth place at the end of the dips. Some remarkable scores there on dips. And the agony hour still to come. The squat thrusts. There's Brian Jacks' dad, part of the entourage here cheering him on. Himself, a very fine judo player who was Brian Jacks' first coach. So they line up. Chris Balliol on the far left and Duncan McKenzie. Brian Jacks, Andy Irvine, Maurice Hope. Mike Hazelwood's gone off fast. There he is on the left. Chris Bailio going well. Duncan McKenzie going well. And Brian Jacks not taking this as an easy ride. Andy Irvine pumping away fast and hard. And all going well at this early stage. Keep it up, says Mrs. Jacks. Keep it going. Feet behind the line, but they don't have to reach that front line. It's merely elbows to the knees. And Brian Jacks, grim-faced, absolutely determined to add to his score. And Mike Hazelwood slowing up. So too is Duncan McKenzie. Can barely get those legs over the line. And is that Andy Irvine that stopped? Yes, indeed it is. Chris Bailio still going on. It's Mike Hazelwood that stopped. And relief at last on the whistle, and Brian Jacks knows that he must have won the gymnasium tests. Still had the best form of all at the end. Just a question of how many of them counted. Now for Chris Bailio and the rest. He was going quite well, actually.
The score for Maurice Hope.
76. That's a good score.
The score for Andy Irvine.
65.
A little bit disappointing, I think, for Andy Irvine.
Score for Brian Jacks.
84 to add to 64.
The
Absolutely
score for
untouchable.
Duncan McKenzie.
57.
Oh, now that's disappointing. He looked better than that.
The score
what about
for
Chris Bailio, who's going
Bailio.
well?
81.
81.
81.
81 is a very good score indeed for Chris
Score for
Bailio, I
Mike
must say. Here, Mike Hazelwood, 62. 62 for Mike Hazelwood, and no doubt about the result. There can't be 10 clearer points in this competition to Brian Jacks, and then equal in second place, Chris Bailio and Mike Hazelwood.
Brian, two of the most remarkable scores we've ever seen in Superstars. How much of that is due to training, specialised training? How much of it is due to the fact that judo is a tough, fit sport anyway?
I think it's mainly due to judo being a tough sport, especially with the legs and body and arms. You have to pull a lot and push a lot. I haven't done much training. I've only done 3 weeks training because of the British Championships at judo.
3 weeks.
Fell in between them.
Yeah, these fellas think it was 8 hours a day for 3 weeks.
No, I'm very fortunate being a school teacher. I can train a lot, you know.
Yeah. And what, you had the family here all cheering you on.
Yeah,
That
Mum and
must
Dad's
have
here,
helped.
and my coaches are here, and they've been a fantastic help.
Well,
I think I should mention my wife. She's been tremendous.
Great, but
No,
win or
she's
lose
a ton
Superstars, it's that was one heck of an event for
Thanks
you. Well
very much,
done.
Ron.
Great.
And Jacks is now, for the first time, the outright leader. 8.5 points up. Neil, Hazelwood and Irvine very much in contention. Just 10.5 points between the top 4.
So with just 2 events left to go, those top 4 places wide open. And those 2 events take place here on the track, the cycle race and the steeplechase. Now, Brian Jacks needs good points in the cycle race. It's his last event. And in fact, every heat is going to be absolutely vital. And in the very first heat, the man from football, Duncan McKenzie. Well, Duncan, we know that the cycle race has always been one of the great high spots of Superstars in one way or another. What do you feel about riding it?
Well, of course, yeah, 1 or 2 interesting incidents have occurred. I thought you might be doing it for me, actually. But no, Jaxie needs the points, and Ian Neal as well, who I'm riding with in this first heat, he needs the points. But I've got a sneaking feeling Andy Irvine might come through and do very well at this.
Really? What about your own form? I mean, you've got all the right gear on. Have you had much chance to practice on a racing bike?
No, not really. I think obviously I'm hoping the old legs are going to get round okay, and I don't know, maybe I'll be able to pick up a few points in this. I hope so anyway.
Yeah. Ian Neal, you've got against you in your first heat. He'll obviously be keen to go some. It could be an advantage. He might pull you along a bit, do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. He's told me he's done a bit, and he's done a bit on a bank track, so maybe if I can keep in his slipstream, I'll be okay.
Anyway, good luck. Stay on the bike. Duncan McKenzie against Ian Neal, first heat.
Neil looking determined and set, knowing he must score well here, and McKenzie, who might lack the build but certainly not the ambition. McKenzie inside, yellow jersey.
Are you ready?
And away they go. And who's going to make the break? Neil out of the saddle, so is McKenzie. The break for the first bend, absolutely vital. Just over a lap of the track, 450 metres. Time trials to qualify for the match races. Neil looks over his left shoulder and goes for the break inside. And the white flag goes up. The judge is satisfied with the safe riding at that first bend, and Neil has the break. Neil on the back straight away, and he's opening up quite a little gap. Mackenzie said he wanted to tuck behind him and get the slipstream, but he's going to have to get closer than that. He's not getting the pull. He needs to be just about half a length behind, and he's too far behind at the moment. Neil, rather straight arms. He could do well to have those bent rather little, less wind resistance, but he's riding well. Now bends him a little, tucks in for the finish straight and comes up to the line there, and Mackenzie only just behind him. Neil's time, 43.52. Not as fast as we might have expected from this beautifully built gymnast, and not quite a bigger gap between him and Mackenzie as we might have expected. But Neil's got it, 43.52, and the rest of the riders now to attack that time to try and qualify for the match race finals. Waiting for the lineup for Heat 2, and this will have the water skier. Mike Hazelwood flying 3rd overall, 9 points behind Jacks. Andy Irvine, 4th, 1.5 points behind Hazelwood. Absolutely needle heat. Oh, and they can do without that. You can come to grief in this race without that sort of help. Get him off. They're ready. Hazelwood on the left as you look. Irvine, the rugby player, on the inside, and Hazelwood's got a good start. Good power from those legs. A good start like he got in the canoe race, and just look at Hazelwood coming towards his first bend, sees the place is clear, moves inside, and Hazelwood riding well. Neil's time was 43.52, and he's opened up a tremendous gap over Andy Irvine, the man that Duncan Mackenzie thought might do well in this event, but Hazelwood is killing him on that back straight. Hazelwood well out in the lead, coming towards this bend, which is a difficult one, and he comes a little wide, but he's still all right. The gap getting bigger, and Hazelwood time looks good. Around the 43, and it's quicker than Ian Neil. 43.04 for Hazelwood to 43.52 for Neil. Irvine back in 44.88, and Irvine's time slower than Mackenzie's. A little bit of a surprise. Wayne Grimditch, the United States water skier, did well in this in Superstars in the Bahamas, and now it's Brian Jacks. Heat 3, his last event. He must qualify for the finals against Maurice Hope, the boxer, in this heat. The Londoners together.
Are you ready?
So the white top and shorts of Brian Jacks. And he is keen and determined, and Maurice Hope is wobbling badly. Hope wobbling as he puts on the initial power. Jacks, look at the way that jaw is set. And a tremendous gap already. He's not going to worry about Maurice Hope. It's all about riding against the clock now. He's got to beat Ian Neil's time of 43.52 to qualify for a match race against Hazelwood. Again, that little bit of indecision on that bend, but he comes well and he's riding well, and it's fast. Jacks is riding home for the straight beautifully, and this is a quick time. He'll be under 43 seconds, 42.24, and that is the fastest of the new Superstar season. Maurice Hope right out of it, but Jacks, the best cyclist we've seen in Superstars so far, and he has qualified for a ride-off against Hazelwood. Mackenzie has pulled a slight muscle, won't ride for 3rd and 4th against Ian Neil, just lets Neil ride around formally to get the 4 points for 3rd place. So Neil is 3rd, Mackenzie defaults to 4th, and it's Jacks versus Hazelwood for the final. Hazelwood, who has the steeplechase still to come, can win the Superstars. Jacks can win the Superstars, but he has to win this, his last event, and knows it.
Are you ready?
And so do the Jacks fans who are clustered around this track now. One of them running across to see him on the straight, and Jacks has it, and Hazelwood's decided to tuck in behind. Hazelwood adopting the classic cycling tactics and almost came off on that bend, and again, but he wants to tuck in and get the slipstream, but again he's a little too far behind, wobbling around, and Jacks has opened it up. There's no way he's going to ride a tactical race. He just goes for the line as fast as he can, and he's got this opening at the moment, and I don't think Hazelwood's going to get inside him. Hazelwood's not going to pick that up, and Brian Jacks is riding for the line and riding for the Superstars, and Jacks has got it, and Jacks is the superstar here, and Brian Jacks knows he's qualified for the British Superstar final with that ride here on the track. 41.13, and he's the champion and salutes it. Jacks wins. Hazelwood, Neil and Irvine, his big rivals, all pushed out here on the track. Jacks has got it.
Well, Brian, you're puffing and panting a bit, but Superstar.
Thanks very much, David.
It's cut and dried.
I hope so.
Oh, it is, definitely. Mike Hazelwood can't touch you in the steeplechase.
Oh, great.
Now.
You know, I'm so pleased. I want to win it for Britain.
That bike race took a bit out of you, I think, didn't it?
Yeah. It's quite hard work, that is, once you're on the track. It doesn't look it, but when you're going flat out, your legs just go like jelly. I'm very happy. Really.
Did you ever think of the possibility of going behind Hazelwood instead of sitting on his back wheel?
I always got to win, David, and that's it, you know. There's no other way, you've got to win.
You had a couple of frights over the 2 days, haven't you?
Yeah, I failed up on the swimming by one touch for third place, and then I failed up on the canoeing by bang bang, just third place again. But I think you just got to fight through it, haven't you? Still, it's the experience, that's the thing.
That's right, the experience, because now you're going to have to do it all again in the British national final.
I'm going to do it, I tell you, I'm going to win it.
Jacks wins here, 43.5 points, but still to be decided is who qualifies with him for the British Superstar final and then on into Europe.
Well, although Brian Jacks has made absolutely certain of winning the third heat of the Superstars, there's a real battle on for the second, third and fourth place. Mike Hazelwood, Andy Irvine and Ian Neil are all battling for that place. And remember, it's the first two that will go forward to the final of Superstars. There are 6 runners to go in this last event, the 600 metres steeplechase. Duncan McKenzie, one of them. Points academic for him, but a bit of pride at stake. He's a good athlete. Andy Irvine, winner of the 100 metres. Can he make it a classic double? Chris Balliol, I think, has a reputation in the endurance events, a bit disappointing so far. Ian Neil, splendid all-rounder, winner of the swimming, and this man's made a few friends here. Another very good all-rounder, Mike Hazelwood, and Phil Bennett, he'll get cheered to the echo, and perhaps his stamina will be made to tell here. 600 metres, 1.5 laps, and they go off, and the first obstacle they find is the water jump, and this is cracking pace. Look at Mike Hazelwood, followed by Ian Neil. He's tearing into it. Now, can he survive? Oh, and he sailed over it and didn't get his feet wet. He went off at a cracking pace. Now, there's confidence for you, because it really is daunting to face those obstacles. What a lead he's setting up, and flies over that one as well. And the others must wonder whether there's any sanity about. 200 metres gone. He takes the bell, and he's already got a 15-yard lead from Andy Irvine. Mike Hazelwood fairly flying, the rest pacing themselves a little bit, but that's an awful lot to make up. But sanity beginning to come to the race at last as Mike Hazelwood settles down, realizing that he's still got 300 metres to go. And the gap has been reduced now to about 8 metres. Andy Irvine in second place, Phil Bennett having a good run for Wales, and Ian Neil behind him. But Mike Hazelwood can hurdle. That's taxed his strength, that early burst, but he's gone out and committed himself, and they come up with 200 metres to go. One more water jump coming up. Andy Irvine, has he got anything left? He flops over that. Oh, Phil Bennett lands in the deep water, so does Ian Neil. And look at this, Andy Irvine thinks he's got a bit left. A battle for third and fourth, but look at this, one of the finest races we've had, and Andy Irvine overtakes Mike Hazelwood, clears that hurdle well, jackknifes a bit, but goes for the line. Mike Hazelwood got nothing left. That early commitment sapped his strength, but a fine race. Andy Irvine crosses the line, 1:40. That's tremendous running, and all due to the early pace set by Mike Hazelwood. And Phil Bennett gets a splendid third place, ahead of Ian Neil, and then Duncan McKenzie. Chris Balliol coming up, Maurice Hope has dropped out. We really haven't had a better race than that over 600 metres. Mike Hazelwood went off at a fantastic lick. Did you think it was suicidal?
That boy, he's been doing a lot of training, you see. Oh, that's life.
10 good points again.
Oh, I was blowing all the way. I knew I could hurdle, so I thought I'd go out the front.
Hurdle? That half a dozen athletic coaches saying if he survives that pace, sign him up, will you?
But I knew I didn't. If I got behind everybody, I know myself. I get behind, I can't catch him. But get me out the front, then I'm all right.
That was a suicide.
So I knew I had to sprint. I only had one way to do it, I thought. I know my capabilities now. It's the only chance.
Bit disappointed? 7 points?
No, I'm with you. I'm made up with that.
Have you enjoyed the competition?
Terrific, really did.
Well done.
And I think if Mike Hazelwood had paced himself a little better, it might have been 10 points, but Andy Irving caught him on the line and collects those 10. Phil Bennett did well to finish in third place.
And at the end of it all, it's Brian Jacks from judo, the champion here. Mike Hazelwood, the water skier, is runner-up. A rather disappointed Andy Irving from rugby union is third, and Ian Neal of gymnastics takes fourth place. And as Michael Donovan, the marketing director of Brylcreem, who sponsor the Superstars, comes out to present the trophies, the handshake to Brian Jacks, the man who dominated the strength events here. He takes the trophy. On his right, Mike Hazelwood, who will take his prize but will be unable to take his place in the British final because of a water ski date he's already committed to. Andy Irving, there on the right of your picture, in third place, will go into the final. Brian Jacks, a very proud champion indeed, and as he savours the moment, let's take a look at the men he'll be joining in the British Superstar final next week. Tim Crooks, the champion, the reigning British superstar who'll be defending his title. Lynn Davis, the Olympic long jump gold medalist and the champion, past master. Brian Phelps, Olympic diver and runner-up in that first past masters heat. Dave Boy Green, the tearaway professional boxer who won the second heat. Gordon Hill, England international footballer who chased Green so hard at Harlow. And from this week, gymnast Ian Neal, whose 31 points here give him a final place. The Scot, Andy Irving from rugby union. And finally, this week's champion, Brian Jacks. 8 for the title. Superstar of Great Britain next week.